so not to worry. Carrier sounds like it will certainly be among the most unique ships. Yep. Thank you very much, Sharkats. Nice of you to say.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I think it is.
I think it definitely is.
Volk's flagging up some stream there. But
Oh, we didn't get the email notification. Didn't go out.
Talk to Twitch.
Talk to Twitch, yeah.
Twitch.
Cheers, Twitch. Thanks, guys. Twitch. When's the carrier coming to? Not too many questions flying in here, guys. So if you've got a burning question, get it in now while we're nice and quiet. Cool. I mean, what else have we been working on to chuck into this next patch, then, guys?
Well, there's been a lot of kind of like the point defense has been refactored to a point, including things like Standard's been working on the way it fires and how it fires, so it looks much more interesting when it fires and firing at a point it's firing.
Cool.
So there's been a lot of sort of background work on that, and Willis has been working on the new map, and one of the things we kind of want to do in the follow-up month from this patch is get the new map to a point where it can become part of the next patch. So there's a lot of work involved in bringing that up to speed, and all of it depends on what slips into the next sprint.
Yeah.
But that's something we want to do, obviously moving forward. We're actually changing the map, and that will obviously be big impact and a lot of iteration, but that's something we want to do.
That'd be good. Hopefully we'll have something to share on the new map soon. So. Commandos, rest of the fighters, bombers and tech drones from other ships got some buff on next patch.
Now, I'm trying to remember what's gone into the live build. I have to check the dates, because I did a massive pass on fighters and missiles. It might have been in the last patch to tie into point defense, but might have been after the last patch and in this one. I mean, there will be changes. We're looking at testing at the moment, and we've noticed, compared to the missiles that the bombers on the carrier launch and how effective they can be, that a lot of the other missiles are probably underpowered, and some of the missiles are not, point defense is not effective against them. It seems to be a new bug. So we're going to be looking at that. What we may try to do, depending on timescale, it might end up being a hot fix rather than this patch, is increasing the damage to missiles, but ensuring the point defense is effective. Hopefully that answers the question.
Cool. Sweet dev team, thank you very much. There we go.
I was just thinking about other fighter types that we could be doing.
Oh, it's worth saying that with the carrier specifically, because when we release a new ship, we release a default loadout. Generally don't release options, but there's lots of room in the carrier to expand on the loadout, so you can have alternate bomber fighter, but more specifically utility loadouts, where you could start giving interesting things where you can set a defend point that could, for example, decloak assassins or whatever, but interesting kind of loadouts that you can stick on a remote wing. So that won't be with the carrier, because obviously we have to let carrier breathe for a while, but there's a lot of room we can do to increase the use of wings.
I was just thinking about what real carriers have, because obviously they have
Scouts,
but they also have like ECM, but you have wild weasels, so that they draw away fire and things like that. So you could have a fighter wing that makes it. It's like chaff, takes the missiles away,
cool.
Things like that, which is really cool things.
Atomon. What about the Hunter? It sounds like Atomon might have run into Rainbow Dar.
Well, actually, it's equipped for Blink. The Hunter is possibly the second most effective capturing ship in the game after the Equalizer. He's although.
Well, the Hunter to some extent you use as your yardstick at which you put things around, don't you?
It's the first ship I did, and first ship we did in prototype. First ship I moved over to Unreal, and we do use it as a benchmark to compare. And it does have that thing where in a really good player you can't counter a Hunter, but it's something most people can get a handle on. Although we're looking at the metrics and we're aware that the Hunter's too complex for a starter ship. So we're looking at starter ships that are actually simple to use, but we do use the Hunter as a benchmark, absolutely.
Yeah, but if it's a benchmark, that means that it's not necessarily that you would nerf or play around with a Hunter. You might just look at the ships that are suffering against it.
In this specific case, it's a use of the Hunter loadout with the regular blink he has. He's effective move around the map, but I'm pretty sure the best capturing scenario isn't actually the default blink. Maybe someone can remind me, but in which case it could be a loadout thing we look at just to deny movement a little bit. But it's I think if the Hunter's moving around blinking so much and he's not being offensive, it's a question of how the other team are doing.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Maxim UK is saying is saying that the new map will actually change things, and of course it will, because some ships will work better or worse with the
the
new
hunter
map?
to still be very effective because capturing would still exist on the mining stations. So the hunter would still be effective at sweeping mining stations and jumping between them, but there'll be no capture on home base and no capture on forward stations. So in that situation, cap as such.
He's still a good combat ship, so he would still be able to take down the inhibitor and stuff.
And
so,
specifically, he has a good range on it. So yeah, on a stationary target position, it's very effective.
yeah. I think that's one of the things about the new map is that it will throw up new imbalances for sure, which everybody in the community will no doubt find and tell us about, which is fine.
It will be an iterative process, but
And Arcos, crazy ideas are welcome. They're just as good as questions, honestly. We'll discuss anything here. Commandos there.
clan streams.
Sharkat's version question via Commandos, I believe. Yes, no. On the clan match streams, I'm currently going through the tournament as we've been putting it together. I'm actually awaiting confirmations from more than half of the captains. But I can tell you, we've got 17 clans have registered. So I'm going to be sending out the rules and essentially the loose structure tomorrow morning, so we can start arranging games. But since I've got quite a few teams that haven't confirmed their participation, that slightly throws things. It's not going to be a one-day event. It's going to be, over, I would imagine, a couple of weeks. It's going to take, we put it this way, I was expecting about 4 clans, and I'm sitting on 17 at the moment. So,
wow,
which is great. It's great. Yeah, it's fantastic. But logistically, that's not going to happen in a day.
we don't have a dev team.
No, we don't. No.
So
Well,
that'll be the 18th clan, but they can't win.
well, yeah, that's the thing. Because
You're kidding. We're not going to get anywhere.
That's true.
Throw the first match.
So I'm trying to nail that down. I'll be sending out an email to team captains probably tomorrow morning with what we're going to be doing. To try and hopefully start arranging things, and once I've got a few more confirmations, I'll do a draw. I'll probably do that on Twitch for the first round.
So a bag.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sort of World Cup style. Yeah,
exactly.
That's it. I'll be the sort of Sepp Blatter of fractured space. Pen alert! First pen alert of the day. Here we go. But yeah, so keep your ear close to the ground for that. We'll have news on that next couple of days, because obviously it kicks off in a week. So.
And Narcos was asking whether we're going to accept player workshop, fan art, work, skins, cosmetics, etc.
Well, in terms of fan art, send it our way. We're always happy to see it.
Yeah, we've got one on the fridge.
Yeah, on the fridge upstairs. Yeah, we've got our first fan art.
It's very basic, but it makes us, makes us chuckle.
Yeah, I'd say streamlined. But send it over. We love it. We've seen some great stuff. There's been some really cool stuff made of our ships and stuff. So
I think in terms of
we love a good meme.
We do love a good meme.
Yeah, go to the memes.
Fractured memes thread on the forum is probably our most viewed thread, I think, or at least one of.
It's really good. But in terms of putting a workshop in the game where people can build their own things and them go in game, that's a long way off, I'm afraid, because that is some serious pieces of work, and also we need to think about how that would even fit within our game, what you would be building, and so on and so on and so on. The last thing we want is lots of giant space palaces. We're quite good at making those ourselves. We don't need anybody to make them for us.
Remember the sort of joke model that was flying around?
There was the assassin,
the penetrator.
The penetrator, exactly. Yeah. The modified assassin.
Disgraceful.
That was made here by one of the artists. Exactly. So we've got to think about that. That's going to take time. But certainly, we really, really would like to hear people's ideas for skins, or like the Goliath is a ship modification. It's more than just a skin. It's actually it's a legendary skin, so it's got structural changes and stuff. Please tell us about what you think we could do with different ships. Some people have sent in what they think you could do with different ships. I've seen some artwork where people have sent stuff in. Yeah, the Hunter variants one. Even people have done it in Lego to show us what you could do.
Oh yeah, that was really cool. The Lego Hunter, right? Yeah.
Ben asked, got the guy to put it through an app which tells you how much that would cost in Lego.
Oh, cool.
It's £846.
Right. Okay.
Maybe one day.
One day. Yeah. Just quickly before we disperse off the screen here, Commandos about the Destroyer. This is one for you, Jim. Will there be fast cannon loadouts with less range, less damage, and better projectile speed to make it more useful against?
I've just one written down.
Oh, there we go. It made the pad.
Yeah, it's. We'll see. I mean, yes, we could do. I mean, obviously, the Destroyer's weakness is anything that gets close and can move fast to him. If you counter that, then you lose his ability to counter and control the lane from range. But absolutely, we can have a look at playing with it, and as long as you get as much back as you get as you lose, if you see what I mean, then yeah.
So Commandos P2P, the thing that I've been nagging Jim about, which is going to go, ugh, is the opposite of what you said. I'd actually like to see some slower cannons that do more damage, just so that you can give people a
BFG.
fright, right? Yeah. So it's basically, the small ships. Yeah, they will dance around you. They'll take you out. But that's what your escorts are for. That's what your teammates are for. But if you can seriously scare some people down the lane as they come up with some big guns, then yeah, I'd like to see the opposite too. In fact, that's my meme on the Fractured Meme. If you see the baby going yes, because I'm like the guns. That's what I mean.
Nice one. Sharkat, regarding those matches, any chances of implementing spectate mode? Yep, we've got it. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to be essentially casting it. So again, something I need to put the fine points on. But whether or not we stream every match, I'm not 100% sure. We might not, because that's a lot of games. But certainly from at least the quarterfinals onwards or something, we'll be streaming every game.
Yeah, I presume you also are asking that in time that anybody could spectate.
Yeah, I think
I presume that's what I'm asking as well, which is fine.
In time, maybe.
But we also need to think about how some games obviously put a slight delay on spectate.
Yeah.
So that if anybody was streaming it or whatever, then you can't cheat as much as well. Obviously, you could cheat with a spectate mode, so we have to be careful and put it in. But it makes sense. Same with replays. Replays and spectate. They're on the board. They're
they're probably not a top priority, but they're on there, aren't they?
Yeah. The Trello, because Dylan, who updates the Trello, his wife had a baby, so he's been away for a couple of weeks. So we need to do a new sprint plan and then get Trello updated, and then you can have a look about when these things are coming.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Yes, the spectator is fairly rudimentary at the moment, but it's there. So we've been practicing. So got that to look forward to. How's the progress on the game's social components going along, guys? Also, I assume Carrier next patch.
Carrier next patch.
Carrier confirmed.
Yeah.
I believe we could title this stream next patch.
We only waited since November.
Yeah, we got it out. Carrier confirmed. There we go.
So on the social stuff. Yep. So Greg, who does a lot of our back-end stuff, has been working on effectively Friends systems and the UE team. So Sam and Ev have been, I've seen mock-ups for the chat channels and for the sort of Friends system as part of the UE. So it's definitely coming. We know that's one of the key things that came after the free weekend was the need for people saying, "Oh, just want to play, even if I can just play with one friend, and then later on let's play with five." But playing just with a mate is important.
Shot to the top of Trello, didn't it?
Absolutely. So it's definitely very, very key for us. Thing is, of course, we've got to bear in mind is how that could cause, a team of five who are friends and against a team of five randoms. You could really go around, and in fact, in the really, really early days, there was a little cluster going around doing that, wasn't there? Being quite organised. Do you remember that?
So I came in halfway through the conversation. I was reading the chat.
He's busy reading. Anyway, so we've got to get that right as well, because we don't want
people
getting stomped,
basically
stomping, going around as team stomping. So we need to get that right as well. But that will come alongside when we have the matchmaker as well.
Sharkat, patch ETA still May, or have you had too many issues porting to the new UT engine version? We have.
We had some minor issues, but we're still talking about patch May. Yeah.
We were talking about that. We were talking about that just a minute ago, actually. And I think we're still on course for May. So it's all hands to the pumps here at the moment. This is
supposed to be the patch is supposed to be.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it.
Tomorrow.
No, don't say the T word. Don't say the T word.
I'm allowed to say it, so there you go. But
theoretically, it's
But,
theoretically,
It depends whether any more things, because there's been quite a few things going wrong. So there you go.
But we're still. I mean, we're still for May. Put it that way.
It's just a version change on Unreal, nothing.
Yeah. So engine transition. What we're talking about here is basically 4.7. Is it 4.7 or is it 4.8 now? They're going to have to slow down because before they know it, they're going to be Unreal 5.
Yeah, because Unreal 4 obviously they're iterating quite quickly, so versions come thick and fast. And when we update, we have to be very careful that we don't break everything. So
maybe that's the clever plan. They'll go 4.8, 4.9, 5.
Unreal 5
costs you money. We only said Unreal 4's free.
Yeah.
Unreal 5, £1 million. Thanks. and we'll all go, shit. So yeah,
Mark Crane will be watching this.
yeah, exactly. Be going. They found out.
They've cracked the code.
Yeah, so they're accelerating so fast. I mean, they'll have to go 4.775, 4.776. Just slow down a bit. But yeah, new version, and the new version's got some nice bits in it. Which one of them is linking to replays. And actually, the other thing that the guys have been working on, they've implemented some of the NVIDIA stuff, which improves the lighting a bunch, which looks really cool.
Makes all the details on the ships pop.
Yeah, I really noticed that when I was looking over the shoulder, almost immediately it had been implemented. So you'll see some new sort of enhancements that NVIDIA have given us, and there'll be more coming as well. I mean, there'll be DirectX 12 coming not that far away as well.
Imagine from like web browsers. Yeah, no, thankfully not quite. And Arcos, can we define FS as a space MOBA? I see you have new elements, but how close or far you want to move from the LOL Dota genre? Space Battle 1, please.
See, it depends who you talk to, really. I think.
I think we try and avoid saying it's a MOBA.
Yeah,
MOBA elements.
Yeah, I think definitely we borrow some of the elements because those games have evolved basically through the evolution of Dota into Dota 2 and LoL. Some amazing components, and we borrow heavily. I'd worry about calling us MOBA, not just because of the perspective difference, but because a number of the main components we don't intend to implement. We don't intend to implement creeps, and we don't intend to implement shots, and so we do borrow, but we also heavily use games like World of Tanks as a reference in terms of the accuracy of the shot, in that skill-based landing of the shot and the accuracy and everything involved in it is a huge part of the experience, as is the game mode, which borrows massively from MOBAs. But so I wouldn't describe us as a MOBA, but we borrow heavily from that genre and we do get included. Willis, however, who plays far more LoL than I do, would possibly describe us as a MOBA. So
somebody needs to do a dot chart of MOBA, like one of those with dots all over it, like MOBA, hardcore, MOBA, like MOBA, lots of MOBA elements, less MOBA elements, blah 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 blah.
Usually describe us when I'm sort of doing comm stuff. Usually say it's a space combat MOBA-like with
I guess what worries
strategy elements.
What worries me about the use of the term MOBA is it comes as a shortcut for how do we solve this? Well, let's look at League rather than let's look at some other game.
It's pretty
you also want to be creating something unique, your own game, and if you're stepping outside of a defined thing, then you have to look for the right answer. But that said, MOBA's used on a lot of games that I would say are not the MOBAs. So.
Well, I mean,
and it also
eventually it'll be an FS-like.
Yeah, exactly.
We're trying to be our own thing, but we are influenced by what's out there. We look at lots of basically good games. Good games.
Commandos, there was a suggestion on the forum about making a crew per ship, so you can have your own crew on different ships. What do you think about that? I think we discussed it.
Yeah, so in terms of the having a setup, so in the front end you have options. You can make crew sets, and the idea behind those crew sets is you could create a crew set that might fit a heavy, or might fit a support, or specifically might fit a flagship, or might fit a hunter. And when we move over to creating a drafting screen or components that allow you to build up the game, then you'll be picking a ship and you'll want to switch to the crew appropriate for that ship. So absolutely, yeah, having presets basically that would assign to either a specific ship or class of ship, much in the same way you assign room pages to in LoL.
That's it.
Oh no, I've referred to a MOBA.
No, it's not a MOBA. It's an FS-like.
Wait. Different thing.
I was just going to say, yep, Shark Hats.
Crew numbers.
Talking about crew numbers there. Regarding ship models, now that you've mentioned it, crew numbers are kind of unrealistic. Like 3-4K crew in a mid-sized ship that's mostly a hollow frame surrounded by armour, weaponry and tanks. Doesn't affect gameplay at all, merely curiosity.
It's basically the crew numbers are taken from equivalents to the basically carriers that exist now. And there's an argument that future technology would reduce crew numbers, but complexity and life, time in space would increase crew numbers. So the crew numbers from that point of view are about right. However, some of the models, especially the Enforcer, if you look at it, it looks inside and it's just armor panels and nothing. That's actually something we need to fix with the model. Theoretically, there should be plenty of room, but since you're looking at something that's approximately 1 kilometre long, there's a lot of space in there and a lot of room to support large numbers of people. But yeah, some of the models look a little too skeletal. But we'll
Maybe they're just, in the middle. There's like our office. They're all really densely packed, and they work really closely together.
back-to-back desks.
Very close. They're very packed in on those.
I think you work out the crew, and a large portion of that crew are like admin and canteen and support and repair.
You're shooting down dinner ladies,
jobs,
guys.
but because the ship's so big and the crew staff's so big.
Shooting down dinner ladies. I hope you're proud of yourselves.
But maybe they manually load the torpedoes and just take lots of people, putting them in.
Yeah. So they're all coal. These ships are actually coal-fired.
Coal-fired. Lots of shuttling.
Oscar, are there any ideas shaped out about the special rewards for the massive overachievement of the free weekend? I need to start the vote for the for the new legendary. So we'll stick that on Trello. I know that's what we'll talk to Thomas about that tomorrow. So it's on the agenda. You'll be getting your goodies, don't worry. Obviously we've got Commander Jingles incoming as well, haven't we?
That's with this patch.
That should be
that
is, isn't it? Yeah, of course. Yeah. You'll have a new
played on the weekend. You'll have Commander Jingles.
New captain. Yeah.
And then there's a continuous discussion about what other cool things we could put based on the achievement from the free weekend. I know Alex is working on some skins. There's things that are going on. Absolutely.
And cheers for the compliment, Sharp. I will make sure to forward that to the guys.
Oh yeah, no, they are. Yeah.
I'd just like to say on Ursh's comment about some of the guns look too small. It's not the size of your gun that matters, it's what you do with it. And I think that's very important. No, I think we have noticed with the Destroyer especially, when you get a scale of a turret in and you can see the barrels move, it is very high impact. We do have to be careful that the turrets fit to the points they're added on, but I think there's some room we can push the scale on some of those ships.
I mean, it's it's one of those things. Things are fairly iterative, aren't they? It's always
the Destroyer does look good with its big guns. So
it does.
So I know Alex is desperate to do the Zarek Destroyer-like type of ship.
With the Destroyer, I wanted to do that battleship thing you see in World of Warships, where you just fucking huge things turning around. So exactly the plan.
That's a good one from Maxie. What exactly is your design process for ships? Because judging by what Millennia said the other day during your stream, Millennia!
That's not true.
Make ship model first, decide what it does later. So does function follow form?
No. I mean, ultimately, most of the ships, the original 6 ships were grey boxed, created, and we built the bug game based on the 6 ships we put together. So the Assassin, the Hunter, Frigate, and so on. And the intention theoretically is that all ships are grey boxed and then move to art. However, design is a limited team. We have Willis working on map, and me and Momican that are working on ships and loadouts. We have so much to do that we're generally behind art. In order to keep the artists going, they generally give them a very, very quick brief on what a ship does, and then they turn around the models, and so we're always playing catch up. So, for example, in some occasions, for example, Hans had some free time and made a ship. So we will take that hull and we will find a use for it and apply systems to it. But ideally, when we have more time, it'll be grey box first. And the original ships were built that way.
And even as you said, even if it's just a very light brief, it is starting from something. Right? It's quite often the artists kind of know what we're looking for. So, for example, I suppose with the Infiltrator, it's like, well, Zarek need an assassin.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not like it's for no reason. It's like, well, that fills a gap.
It's worth saying as well. So there was a plan for the Infiltrator specifically, and it didn't work. So we take that ship and we change the systems and we make the gameplay style that we feel is much more effective. So they can evolve, and they do evolve after the mesh creation. I think Hans specifically is talking about a ship we're calling the Ranger, which he just built. He just built a ship. It's a lovely looking ship, but there wasn't a place for it. We hadn't designed for it, other than I'd mentioned to him that we'd probably get something like the frigate on the USR line. So Hans built the Ranger under those kind of conditions, but most of the time, it's
that's my way of getting the mine layer in. Is I'll just go into Hans and say, make something that couldn't be anything but a mine layer, and you'll go, damn it,
you kill.
I'm going to go and ask for my. I'm going to go and ask for my hammerhead ship then.
Hammerhead, the rammer.
I want my rammer ship.
Yeah, rammer. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, we are something else in this patch.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
We have ramming.
We have ramming damage.
It's not. It won't drastically change the game or anything. We're dripping it in, but currently now, if you hit a ship at speed, you will do damage to them and receive damage.
So you've toned it down from the early tests then, when it was quite major.
No, it was never major.
Well, it was made. There was
no.
It
was almost non-existent.
There was a point where Adrian had done some tests. I'm sure he was doing some killer.
I'm sorry.
Was you, Crispy?
No.
I heard
there's a reason.
Or was he messing about at the time doing it?
He was in a frigate trying to run into my destroyer.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so ramming large ships with small ships doesn't work well.
Reminds me of my American football days.
But it's out there. We will be evolving it, but you can play with it with this patch.
One question from patches ago is the minimum camera zoom fixed on some ships. Example, the frigate minimum zoom still making the ship bigger, but equalizer or disruptor zoom make it small because you can move it.
Yeah, so we do have unique min and max zooms on all the ships. They probably need a pass, but yeah, I mean we can take a look at it.
Enforcer jousting. I like it. Long boost and YOLO. That sounds perfect.
It's moving so fast.
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep up it. Seraphine, USR starter ship. Starter ships is something that's been, that's thanks to all the metrics we're getting. We're
getting good feedback on what ships people play, and then get into another game very quickly, and that's going to very much influence how we build the starter ships.
Just looking at Narcos there, my concern about the current cosmetics, they don't look very different from the original, just uniform colour and material. What about making small geometry changes to make it stand out from the default skin?
Yep, I mean we have ships that are just taking a skin, which is like colour changes and so on. Geometry changes is more like the Goliath was. The concern
I think
over geometry changes is that it makes potentially changes balance.
But we have to be very, very careful with geometry changes. Yeah, for example, there was a note made on the Phantom. There's a tiny change on the wings of the Phantom that actually has made a difference to the way it plays, and we'll have to fix that because we have to make sure the Phantom plays like the Assassin. But I think the question on geometry change, if you're talking specifically about the Hunter Artemis, which is a legendary skin, but the difference is primarily just the blink bit. It doesn't have a lot of change. I think there's more we can do possibly to that.
Yeah, and on the general skins, the team are getting more adventurous over time. I think initially it's, if you look at the very, very first skin changes, in fact, probably some of them didn't even make it. They were very, very subtle, and I think it will just take time to be more adventurous and to do more outlandish things and more noticeable things. But yeah, so just keep an eye out. I know that there's more coming.
That's right. Mercia, I actually didn't. I have to admit, I didn't get the reference. Sorry. Silverstream made a concept for a pocket battleship starship. It was greatly appreciated by the vets. Sounds good. If it's not already on the forum, please put it on there.
No, I think it is. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Sharkat, the only fear I currently have RE ramming damage is that some ships like to get stuck on asteroid stations. Some parts aren't immediately visible. So I guess we
have to be very careful about the collision because it tends to be very, very simple. It tends to be blocky, and that means you have rough edges that can collide and block and catch on each other's ships. We're trying to be very careful on those, we'll need to be careful that you can't get caught on somebody's.
There's definitely some asteroids that have poor collision on them. Some of them don't have the shape of the asteroid, and you can be merrily boosting along and get yourself properly.
That's something that should vanish when we switch to the new map, because most of the collision in the new map on the asteroids is far more effective.
Right.
But we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, does ramming damage apply to objects, or is it just the ships?
No, at the moment it's just the ships, and it's relatively mild, don't get carried away.
Yeah.
Except when we get the rammer ship, which obviously
that's what I want on the hammerhead. So I'm saying
they'll have an electrified front with plasma coating or something.
I'm saying slow acceleration, massive top speed, line up across the lane and plough into YOLO into a sniper. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Be very satisfying. Right. What we got here? I've actually just missed a question there. Crispy, that's what you could scroll up the chat for us. Cheers, mate. Where was it? It was my only. Oh no, we got it up a little bit more. No Mercia there. My only salt right now is that the game mechanics don't like spinal cannons anymore, since you can't directly pilot ships anymore. Not too sure.
Oh, you mean cannons positioned vertically above and below the ship?
Oh, perhaps, yeah. Could you possibly clear that one up for us a little bit then, mate? We're a little bit confused by that. Happily answer it, but we're a bit...
That's Mush's comments, yeah?
Yeah, it's Mush.
Yeah,
I think it's Mush,
Mush,
yeah. Okay, all right, thanks for the explanation. I'm really concerned there.
Well, it's talking about why the destroyers are terrible. I mean, it's a ship that takes some getting used to. I mean, it has a higher skill required
It's just,
necessarily to
the-
play, but it's quite
we've got
quite
guys that
effective.
are
I've
very
had some
good with
good
it. The
games,
metrics
yeah.
on it are very good.
I've had
So-
some good games in Destroy.
Yeah.
I know.
But against a good small ship pilot, it can be frustrating.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
then that's what your teammates should be there for.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
don't-
definitely not a solo ship, is it?
Yeah, don't pick on a hunter with a quick blink or a frigate.
Mm.
But ultimately, yeah, I mean, like Commando's suggestions before about giving you a choice of loadouts, so you can pick the ships you're good or bad against, is something we can look at.
And of course, do you get info about the ship type of the enemy when you lock it? I can't recall that. It was one of my main problems when I started playing. We've been talking a lot
So
about US
there
stuff,
is
haven't we, the last
there
couple
is
of
a
days?
post-it note on the planning board upstairs, which was a meeting that was supposed to happen this month, which I don't think it has. Just checking with Jim, I'm guessing it hasn't. Which was to talk
I was in
about
China.
exactly, which was to talk about HUD elements, and the HUD elements to talk about are things like.
Well, one of the things worth saying actually is it,
ship info.
what was the question specifically
It's
about?
about ship info or
So
when you lock on.
yeah, I mean, we want to add use icon representations for loadout stuff. That's already started. We now have within this patch actually we're adding the new map screen which will exist on tab, and on that screen you'll be able to see both teams. You'll be able to see the loadouts on every ship for both teams. So we're starting to introduce those icons that describe what element, or at least the positioning on those icons. Sam's still working on the icons. So that you'll see the loadouts on that page for every ship, and then what we want to do is start representing some of that data, but we have to be very careful and crowd the entire.
But that's for the tab screen, right?
Yeah.
So-
But what I'm saying is you're seeing the loadout there, so we can
Yeah.
start introducing it.
But we were saying that in the top right, top left, when you target somebody, there could be some
Yeah, so
information.
the extension is, so what we want to do is add a window that gives you detail on your ship, so where your armour's down, where you're getting fired from, on a window from your ship. Something people have complained about is when you're in aim view, you can't see orientation. That will provide that. There's a further step from that, which is adding a similar window for an enemy screen, target screen, which could provide further information. But obviously the guys have got a lot of HUD problems to solve before they can get to that.
So actually talking about spinal cannons, so there is a ship going to come in like that, where the
railgun.
manoeuvring of the
Railgun,
ship,
yeah.
the
Yeah.
railgun ship. So that is planned. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so the railgun's one of the really early ships we were going to add. It's in the original set of 18 that I put together. The trick with it is you move the ship to fire, so it fires down the length of the ship. The whole body of the ship is the railgun. The trick with it is it steps outside our current control scheme, because you need to be able to, in aimed view, completely move the ship around, much as you would TD in for the tanks. So that idea is you line up the ship and you do massive damage when you line up the shot. It would have an ability that allow you to fast turn, so you have a target, a massive cooldown, a gyro ability that would allow it to rotate to target to assist. But ultimately, it's funny because the railgun model was built a long time ago, last year I think, and the thing that's been holding up is the time to extend the control scheme to support it.
Yeah, some code work, but we're getting to the stage. I mean, Mark was saying that the code team are getting to the point at which they're waiting for new tasks.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's
why
always
not?
good to hear. Yeah.
But you're absolutely right that
Do some community management if they want.
it is another type of sniper to some extent. If it does get leapt on by better ships,
Yeah, I mean, it's
leapt on by the right ships,
The
it is
sniper's
going to
kind
die.
of like a step between the other ships in game and the railgun ship,
Yeah.
in that he has some arc.
The
Shelkos-
railgun ship will probably be the most exposed to being leapt on, but will
Yeah.
probably do more devastating damage because of it, I guess.
Shelkar's point about holding beams stuff, so you may have noticed that all our hit scan weapons are sort of like they appear and disappear very, very quickly. That's because we can't maintain a beam between a moving source and a moving target. So what would happen is if you held that beam, the ship would move on and it would hold its position, which looks terrible. We do have a beam weapon system that would allow us to hold a beam between turret and target. We've got to spend some time getting it working properly and implementing it, but you'll start seeing beam weapons change. The first one will probably be the way the Corvette heel beam works, and we'll start replacing that with a hold beam.
So this will be like the mech warrior beams. So they'll properly
proper
assist.
beams, basically.
proper
not
beams. The things that sort of jutter through the sky. Yeah. That'd be cool. I look forward to the beam that sort of holds for quite some time. That'd be
Yeah.
quite cool.
Yeah.
Sort of give you that real sort of.
Like we did in Strike Suit.
Like we did in Strike Suit. Those things are always cool. They always look good in sci-fi. I think that long sort of persistent beams in space.
Although I do think the ones in Mech Warrior.
Yeah, I know. But then we've been around that one a lot of times.
Yeah.
There you go.
Cool.
Okay.
I think we should probably look towards wrapping this up
Really?
fairly soon. It's 50 minits now. I've got a long way to go.
Yeah, so talk about beams, like having it hold, and as you hold it, if you can keep the target keep it on target, you get more and more damage. I'd like to see one that if you can, then that one dies, it actually punches through, and, so you get that. You know, like in anime, you see a beam which holds on an enemy and then punches through and it comes out the other side.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. No, that'd be spot on, really, wouldn't it?
I mean, Seraphim's comment kind of leads on from the fact if you hold a beam, you do more damage, which we would expect to be able to do with a full beam. But what he's suggesting, an escalate scalpel beam, we can do now in the sense that scalpel beam works on multiple volleys, and so does escalate. So yes, theoretically, you could create a hybrid.
Thanks very much, Toby. Thanks for the kind words. Always nice to hear.
We really appreciate it. We do really appreciate everybody who's compliments us. We're working hard to make the game better and better all the time. That's all we're doing, pretty much.
Would Unreal support sweeping lasers?
This is it. The system, the default beams we currently have, the fast-firing ones that don't move, as far as I'm aware, came out of the box with Unreal. The new beams took some work, but I'm not sure. It feels like Unreal should support moving target source, but yeah, we've
done it now. Anyway.
We've got a new one.
It's coming, I don't think it was quite as easy as out of the box.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to remember Unreal 4, they are iterating very fast on it. Stuff comes online. It's not like Unreal 3 that's been around and supported for ages. They are adding new components. So
still waiting for good clouds.
Yeah, but
one day.
Yeah.
So we can have Nebula.
Yep.
One day.
Yep. But I think we're actually caught up. I think we've got all the questions done there. So I guess we can wrap up unless anyone's got anything burning.
Any last burning questions?
It's time to.
We'll give it 10 seconds, 20 seconds. How long's the delay?
And there's no.
There's delay.
Right,
well, here we go then.
Oh, Commandos, quick fire question round. Commandos, the new Unreal engine can handle the old flagship fire system, shooting more than one cannon per shot.
Well, actually, I don't think the change in the Unreal Engine version would change it much, but we've generally improved our game basically and how it runs on the thing. So I'm looking at changing the flak to be multi-turret. What I need to do is wait for the time that I can grab Matt to create a nice economical single explosion. So yes, theoretically you'd fire all those massive turrets on the flagship, fire individually. But yeah, I've already created a weapon system that starts with that. I just got to balance it to the existing. But yes, we're intending on going back to multiple shot flagship.
Yeah, and obviously we've got to be very careful not to slow everything down. We spent so much time speeding it up.
And the reason obviously the flak works the way it does is because we had to increase the frame rate at the time. But we should, so we'll remind you.
You guys should see Jim's page of notes here. Mighty fine. Whole A4
He's
side.
the only person who can read his handwriting.
I said this to the students.
It's encrypted.
I said this to these students who were in yesterday. I said it's like doctors and game devs. That's the handwriting sort of.
Yeah, both my parents are doctors.
There we
go. Must be why then. There you go.
Right, here we go. Make a less quality setting for lower settings, like orange photons.
Yeah, I mean, we will. That stuff, again, that takes time. So yeah, absolutely there'll be low quality settings, but one of the things you've got to think of in a game where it's competitive is you can't have low quality settings that mean that you are better or worse off. I saw some interesting videos about War Thunder where you turn it right down, I think the bushes vanished or something.
Oh really?
So basically you can see more, I seem to remember, and that was like, well, hold on a minute, that's not right. So you've got to be careful on that stuff.
Yeah, we've talked about getting multiple screens up where you can directly compare the various settings within a live game and checking it. But yeah,
so we've got to get that right. Cool.
I think that's us then, guys. I've got to catch a train. So if you're just joining us, if you missed most of this, it'll be on YouTube. We've got a recording, so not to worry. And if we've missed any of your questions, put them in the forum or off Facebook, Twitter. We'll get back to you.
Yeah,
so
the forums is the best place to go. Get to the forums.
Definitely.
Really, you're talking direct to the team all the time. So really go do that. And the last quick one. Any plans on animating port?
Well, funnily enough,
there is
the engineer just appeared. Our I forget her name now.
LV.
It's LV, yeah. So there was Sam actually did a version where the background stuff was moving. She wasn't animating.
Oh,
stuff was
that's
animating. It didn't get into the HUD. We had problems getting the animation in. But at the moment, the plans is just for the portraits moving forward.
Yes, and we will have an expanded damage system. There will be more individual component damage in time.
Yeah.
And
but that should be an expansion.
can
for
you
the
have
armor system.
hunter scalpels instead of the fast cannon? Because fast cannon is crap. There you go. And we'll cut it off there, so Jim can have a think about
I'll
that.
put a
one.
note down, Seraphim. Don't worry.
Nice one.
Okay,
All right,
cool.
thanks very much for joining us, guys, and we'll see you all in the playtest tomorrow.
See you next time. Bye.
Thanks very much.